Good afternoon and welcome to the Hopewell Federal Credit Union 2020 annual meeting. We're so glad you joined us this evening. I have a few housekeeping items that I would like to give you before we get started. First of all, my name is Jim Johnson. I am President and CEO of the credit union and so glad that you could join us this evening. So, first of all, we will hold questions until the end of the meeting. There is a chat box in the lower right-hand side of your screen that anytime you can put a question that you have in that area, and we will get to that later in the meeting. So don't forget, if you have a question, put it in the chat box. Also, I would like to take just a minute as we're getting started to introduce our new president and CEO, Chris Simmons. He is with us this evening. And hopefully you'll get a chance to meet Chris in person next year when we hopefully can have an in-person meeting. So Chris, again, welcome. We're so glad to have you on board with us. I'd also like to mention that Skip Hepner is unable to join us this evening. Skip, as you know, is our current board chair. He was unable to jump in on the meeting today. So Nacy Gallagher, our vice chair, will be chairing the meeting this evening. So Nacy, thank you for stepping in on behalf of Skip. And then lastly, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Beth Kelly. Beth has worked many hours putting this virtual presentation together for us, and it is not an easy task, but Beth, you always do an awesome job. So again, thank you. So we're going to get our meeting started.
Okay, thank you, Jim. And again, I am Nacy Gallagher. I am the vice chair of the board of directors. So the time is 5:32. I would like to call this meeting to order. Heather, will you be our recording secretary?
Yes, I will.
Okay. Between Heather and Cletus, could you ascertain that there is a quorum present with board members and credit union members?
You know how many we have watching, Heather?
We are up to 32.
Okay, I believe that's enough, isn't it, Jim?
Yes,
That sounds
yes,
like
Chris, it is.
Yep.
Okay. At this time, I would like to entertain a motion to dispense of the reading of the minutes from the 2020 annual meeting. So if you are going to make a motion, will you please also state your name?
It's Cletus Henry. I'll go ahead and make that motion.
Okay,
This
thank you.
is Jim Johnson. I second.
Okay. Any member opposing the dispensing of the reading of the minutes, please state your name. No votes to oppose, so that has been approved. At this time, I would like to introduce the Board of Directors and the Supervisory Committee. I will start with the Board of Directors. As Jim mentioned, Skip Hepner is our chair. Cletus Henry is our secretary. Eileen Scarrett-Dudgeon is HR. Terry Jackson is treasurer. And I, Nacy Gallagher, am vice chair. Supervisory Committee. Kyle Miller is chair, and members of that committee are Lisa Miller, Craig White, Richard Arcus, and Carla Cole. So at this time, we will have a chair report that I believe has been pre-recorded.
Yes.
Okay, next is the treasurer's report with Marvin.
Hello, this is Marvin Onison, Chief Financial Officer for Hopewell Federal Credit Union, giving the Treasurer's Report on behalf of our Board Treasurer, Terry Jackson, for the 2021 annual meeting. The report has a page with our financial statements, and I thought I would just take a minute or two, give a few of the highlights. Without a doubt, the COVID event in 2020 affected our financial statements all the way down the line. Some of the balance sheet changes, which were we noticed last year, by far the biggest change was we had a $16.7 million increase in deposits. This pretty much occurred when we were receiving, our members were receiving their stimulus checks, and conversely, they pretty much seemed to be hunkering down and holding on to it for a rainy day, and instead of spending it on vacations and restaurants and whatnot. So that really drove a lot of our deposit money and cash money coming in. We're able to increase our loans by 2.9 million. That still left quite a bit left over. Hence our cash and overnight funds grew a little more than 6 million. And our securities, especially our agency securities, grew about 4.3 million. Overall, between the two, we had over a $10 million increase in cash and investments. In the loan area, the biggest increase was the loans that we went out for first mortgage loans on residential properties. Those grew by 6.6 million. Without a doubt, those were due to the steep drop in interest rates last year, again, which was precipitated by the COVID crisis. Vehicle loans conversely decreased 1.5 million, and that's pretty much due to the auto industry as a whole having a hard time selling cars last year. And again, that's pretty much because people were kind of holding on to their money. The other decrease we had in loans was in our second mortgages, which decreased 1.4 million. And we think most of that was because people were refinancing so many of their mortgage loans, they would pay off their first and second into their new first mortgage. As far as the income statement goes, this was also driven quite a bit by the COVID crisis. Bottom line net income was 357,000, down from 610. Some of the reasons, interest income on our loans dropped 57,000. Much of this was, of course, due to interest rate decreases, and our HELOC loans in particular, which repriced immediately, so we had an immediate decrease in interest income on those loans. Our investment income was down about 160,000. That's because of the short-term nature of our investments and the fact that many of our agency securities have a call feature, so those were all called. So that had a very quick income decreasing effect on our income statement. We were able to reduce our interest expense on our deposits by about 115,000 to correspond with the market. For the most part, these were in our certificates. But the net between the decrease in our interest income and what we pay on our deposits was still a decrease of about $102,000. Fee income dropped $167,000, pretty significant amount. Much of this was due to NSF fees. Again, when you look at the COVID, people received the stimulus money, so they weren't writing bad checks, and they were pretty much just hanging on to the money they had and avoiding NSF fees. Conversely, on the good side, with all the mortgage activity, our other operating income increased to 104,000. Again, that was due to mortgages. We sell off quite a few mortgages, so we get a gain on those. And the interchange income on our plastic cards, with everyone shopping with their card instead of cash, especially through Amazon and other internet providers, we were able to increase that income pretty substantially. But overall, we still had a decrease in net income, but at least it was positive for the year and was pretty much about what we were the year before. Delinquent loans, we were very happy that delinquent loans actually fell in half from 213,000 at the end of 19 to 102,000 last year. Again, this is probably due to everyone receiving the stimulus money and being able to stay current on their loans. We also had a number of people who deferred payments to try to stay current. Loans charged off, very small numbers each year, 65,000 in 2019, only 85,000 last year. So overall, a solid year. We had an increase in membership from 8056 to 8158. And considering all that happened, we're very pleased with the results on the financial statements last year. Thank you.
Thank you, Marvin. We will move on to the Supervisory Committee report, and that's Kyle.
Good evening, and thank you for attending this annual meeting. It is my privilege to be the chair of the Supervisory Committee for your credit union. The primary responsibility of the Supervisory Committee is to determine that the credit union is soundly managed and that the members' assets are safeguarded, and to obtain an annual audit. To ensure our responsibilities, in 2020, our committee met in June, September, and December. At the December meeting, we reviewed the annual audit completed by Lilly Company CPAs. Lilly reported that the audit was exceptionally clean, and they indicated there were no reportable items. Additionally, we reviewed 95 completed questionnaires, returned from members, and received reports from 8 surprise cash counts of tellers' drawers and ATMs. In July, we received the ACH audit, finding that had no reportable items noted. I am proud to volunteer for this credit union and want to thank the team for all that they do. Speaking for the Supervisory Committee, I am confident that your credit union is soundly managed. I want to thank Lisa Miller, Craig White, and Richard Arquez for their commitment to this committee, and welcome Carla Cole, who will be joining the committee soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. And next on the agenda is the President's report. Jim?
Good evening and welcome to the Hopewell Federal Credit Union 2020 annual meeting. As you can see, we're virtual again this year. And as a matter of fact, I'm joining you right now from my office in Heath. But hopefully next year, we can all gather together again. You can hear about how the credit union did this year, as well as get a chance to meet our board members in person, our staff members in person, as well as our executive team. So plan to join us next year. So as I begin my program tonight, I would like to offer thanks to our volunteers. Our volunteers are our board of directors and our voluntary supervisory committee. These volunteers are crucial to the operation of the credit union. They give many hours of their time, and we appreciate that. I'd also like to thank our executive management team, as well as our WeCare team. But again, this credit union cannot operate without each and every one of these committed individuals. So thank you. So speaking of our WeCare team, our team keeps the credit union going day in and day out. They're responsible for the day-to-day activities. That means so much to so many. So to our WeCare team, I extend my sincere thank you and appreciation. What you do makes a difference, and we appreciate it, so thank you. Speaking of thank you, I want to thank our loyal members. You are what keeps our cooperative strong. Definitely, our strength comes from each and every one of our loyal members. Our strength comes from our volunteers, our staff, and certainly our members help us stay relevant and continue our growth, and to keep the cooperative strong, of course. Speaking of appreciation, I want to extend appreciation, and certainly recognition to Nacy Gallagher. Nacy has been a volunteer here for 5 years. She started on the supervisory committee and then moved on to the board. But Nacy, we certainly appreciate all the hours of your personal time that you devote to this credit union, and we surely appreciate it. So looking back, 2020 year in review. From an economic review perspective, our assets grew 14.6%. Our member share deposits grew 17.8%. Our loans grew 5%. And since opening Johnstown, our membership has grown 2% last year. That's amazing. And we really, really appreciate the support of each and every one of the communities that we do business in. So just a note about We Care. Hopewell cares and continues to be focused within our organization through our We Care culture. We care about our members, we care about our community, and we care about our future. We care about our community as we look for ways to continue to help with donation dollars. We also continue to look for ways we can be responsible corporate citizens. Whether it's monetary gifts to United Way, Licking County Food Pantry, Licking County Humane Society, Coalition for Housing, Big Brothers, Big Sisters. That certainly isn't the all-inclusive list. We care about our community, and we look for ways to continue to support that community. We do support many others, and certainly we know the need has never been greater. So thank you. We care about our members. We continue looking for opportunities to improve our credit union. We continue with ongoing team training. We continue to be diligent about growing our digital footprint to meet the new needs brought on by the pandemic. I'm sure each and every one of you would agree you're doing much more on the internet than we've ever done before. We care about our future. We are mindful about ongoing trends. We are focused on the growth and the financial well-being of our organization. I'm sure you would all agree with me, 2020 was a unique year. We look forward to 2021 and finding additional ways that we can care about our community and certainly our members and our organization. So I'm on to the section now where it's actually time for me to say goodbye. On a personal note, as was mentioned earlier, this will be my last annual meeting as president and CEO of our credit union. After 25 years, I am retiring at the end of the month. Looking back, much has changed for us. When I came here in 1996, our assets were just over $32 million. And today, as we shared earlier, we are at over 120 million in assets. That just seems unreal, but given the support and the commitment of our members, volunteers, and staff, it surely is a reality. Certainly, there are many highlights of my career here that I hold dear. We built 3 new offices. We expanded our field of membership into Franklin and Delaware counties. We added many new products and services. I got a chance to work alongside a stellar team of people, and I got a chance to work with countless members, many of whom I consider friends to this day. I'm very appreciative of that. I want to thank our board members for giving me the opportunity to serve as our president and CEO since 2010. I've enjoyed every minute of it. I want to thank our wonderful employees that contributed to the success of the credit union. I want to thank our valued members for choosing Hopewell for their financial needs. Since we are a cooperative, this support has been vital to us. So I'm looking forward to my next chapter. I'm looking forward to spending more time with my family, with my friends, and traveling. In closing, I am fully behind Chris, our executive team, and our staff, and I will continue with Hopewell as an appreciative member. My best to you and yours for the future. Again, thank you for attending this evening. Bye.
Thank you, Jim, and we definitely appreciate you. Excuse me. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to accept all the reports, oral and written. And if you make a motion, please state your name.
So move, Jim Johnson.
Okay, thank you, Jim. A second?
I'll second him. Eileen Scarrett Dudgeon.
Okay, if there are any members who oppose this motion and second, please state your name. No votes to oppose, the reports are accepted. Okay, next is, is there any unfinished business?
No, Nacy.
Okay, thank you, Jim. No unfinished business. New business would be the election results. Kyle?
Thank you, Nacy. I just would like to let everybody know that there were no other members nominated. So I would like to request that the secretary cast a unanimous ballot for Nacy Gallagher and Terry Jackson.
Okay, Heather? You got that, Heather? I apologize. Is there anything that I need to do with that, or it's just unanimous?
It's unanimous, Nacy. You're set.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Before we go into the new business, I would just like to say something. Jim, and I'm sure I speak for the board and the credit union members, would like to thank you for your years of service and hope that you realize that your family and you are family and that you're greatly appreciated. I would also like to thank you and your staff for getting us through a very difficult year. We feel that you worked hard to keep us safe and healthy. You closed the lobby when it was appropriate. And it's like the credit union didn't skip a beat. And when the lobby was able to open, you made sure that there were masks and social distancing and hand sanitizer. And we thank you and your wonderful staff for all of that.
Thank you, Nacy.
Okay, is there any other new business? Okay, oath of office, Kyle, again.
Thank you again. And since we're virtual, we'll do this a little different. Now, not different from last year, but different than we'd like to be doing it. Because typically I would go through about 4 different paragraphs and ask everyone to chime in with their I do's. But at the end, I will ask when I'm finished if we could go through and just have the volunteers can state their name and answer I do. And I'll just remind everybody of that when I'm finished. So I'll read the oath and then I'll kind of pass it back to you, Nacy. So ever mindful of the mission of the credit union to deliver personalized banking solutions that helps members get ahead financially, do you solemnly pledge yourself to perform the duties of your office as a member of the official family of Hopewell Federal Credit Union? Will you strive to increase your knowledge of credit union history, philosophy, and operations, and to guard, preserve, enrich, and advance the credit union ideals given unto your care? Will you place the interest of the credit union membership above special interests and personal ambitions? Will you exert every effort, lend dignity and respect to the office, exercise your best judgment in meeting your duties, and faithfully attend all board and committee meetings as may be required? So at this time, I would suggest if we could just go by the order that's on the agenda, starting with Ms. Gallagher, just stating your name and saying I do, that would be awesome.
Nacy Gallagher, I do.
Cletus,
Cletus Henry, I do.
Eileen,
Eileen Scarrett Dudgeon, I do.
Terry,
Terry Jackson, I do.
Lisa,
Lisa Miller, I do.
Craig.
Craig White, I do.
Now forgive me, I didn't see if Richard and Carla were here, but Richard? I don't know if Richard's here, and I don't know if Carla was able to make it.
Carla is here.
Great, thank you. I now declare that you are properly installed as directors and committee members servicing Hopewell Federal Credit Union. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think next on the agenda are the questions.
Yes, Nacy, we'll field any questions. Beth, were there any questions?
At this point, we do not have any questions.
Thank you, Beth.
Okay, being no questions, I believe that I would need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
That's Cletus.
I'll second it.
Okay, if anyone opposes, please state your name. Since there's no opposition, we will adjourn this meeting, and thank you everyone for attending, and stay healthy.
Thank you, Nacy.
Thank you.